A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Presentation. Welcome in, one and all. Welcome to the North, where things are awfully nice, especially if you consume a lot of beer and cheese. Or cheese, I should say. Hence the name of tonight's event. Round number 11 of the second season of Truck 200 is the Cheese Curds 200 at the one and only Wisconsin State Fair venue, the Milwaukee Mile. Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Turn 200, I guess to me, since you were here yesterday. I was not, but welcome in to the penultimate round of the second season of Truck 200. We have a lot to discuss here tonight. My name is Tommy Cook. We've got the GOAT, Matt Williamson, and we are just about ready and raring to go here around this 1 mile paperclip? Yeah, paperclip. I almost said hot dog. That wasn't quite right. But, I don't know. I got glissies on the mind here up in Milwaukee.
I guess it's more like a corn dog.
Yeah, there you go. It's a state fairground. Corn dogs are inbounds for sure. Well, nevertheless, some drivers love this track. Some drivers do not like it. Most of those drivers are not here today. But we are. So we get to take in 200 laps around Milwaukee here tonight.
Yeah, we're here at Milwaukee. I don't think we've had it in a league race for quite a while on the channel. I want to say maybe going back to like the first or second season of the Daredevil series may have been the last time we were here. So it's been a good long while, but certainly a different test in the trucks here. Flat corners, and it's a tricky track for sure.
It is a tricky track, and yes, you are correct. Season 1, Round 3 of the Daredevil series is the last time that we were here at Milwaukee on Turn 200. So it is, and it's exciting. Welcome back. It was a champion's pick by our champion, Joe Yakes. He is the reigning champion for 2 races more, but we have officially a champion-elect, Matt.
We certainly do. We've kind of been alluding to it over the last couple of weeks that it is nearly complete. Well, it is complete now. Caleb Bensey will be and is your Truck 200 Season 2 champion. So huge congratulations to Caleb, but I can assure you he's not done yet. He's still looking to go out on top here these last 2 races.
Yes, he's looking to go out on top these last couple of races. And we kept saying, well, he's in good shape, but here comes this track or this track or this track. Here comes Bristol. Here comes Talladega. Oh, by the way, he just won both of those. So, yeah, firmly out of reach, even if he were to not even show up tonight, which, of course, he's here and provisionally on pole, or Michigan, he would still win by at least 100 points, if not more. So, yes, congratulations to Caleb. And here's to getting 2 more. If he wins even 1 more of the final 2 races this season, he holds the all-time wins mark in series history. Clock is winding down here. We are getting ready for what could be on the timer the longest race of the season. And we'll see how that plays out here as we got 200 laps around the Milwaukee Mile. Round number 11, the Cheese Curds 200. Pole is scored by the champion-elect Caleb Bensey. Match loss or outstanding qualifying effort for him. He will line up on the outside of the front row. Gavin Sanders and Hunter Engrave will be on row number 2. Luke Peterson and Steve Roman. On the 3rd row, Paul Ellison, Zachary Flaum on row number 4. Then your top 10 is rounded out by our nightmare, Garrett Rainey and Brantley Gainey. It's Jeff Smith and Dan Miglin on row 6. Dave Payton. Scott Patton is back. He's awfully good at New Hampshire. Not quite a 1-to-1 in terms of the banking, but Scott Patton could be one to watch here, starting back from 14th. David Guimond, the last driver to post the time, at 15th. Hometown boy Kyle Zittel will start at 16th. And it is Jeffrey Oakes, Daryl Klotz, and J.J. Wang, your 19 truck starting lineup here, Matt, as we get things ready to roll here around the Milwaukee Mile. What are some things we're keeping our eyes on here?
Well, first, we'll go ahead and take a look at the weather here. And it is a fairly warm, 97 degrees on the track temperature, so a track that's already going to be pretty slick. The track temperature is not going to help that. It's going to be pretty slick here today. Drivers will be loose and tight multiple times in the run here, so you got to be mindful of that. We have 200 laps here tonight, so a long race for the drivers. No reason to do anything crazy early here. Plenty of time to navigate. 100% fuel capacity is about 80 to 85 laps, so will definitely be a 2-stopper, and it'll be a 2-stopper for tires, maybe even a 3-stopper for tires. We'll have to see how that ends up playing out. 0 fast repairs. They do have 3 extra tire sets. And that is about going to do it for what we need to watch here tonight. What the drivers need to watch is the track jumping up and biting them, and those drivers getting tight around them, maybe putting them in the wall. You get awfully tight out of the corners here.
You do get awfully tight out of the corners here, but I will say the first couple of laps, you hear a lot of drivers, especially around the road courses, saying the eggshell. You're trying to press down on the egg underneath your gas pedal without breaking it. The rear of this truck will definitely want to snap around and end your race early for the first few miles of this event, or the first few miles of fresh rubber underneath your truck. So that is what the drivers will be working against here on the opening few laps, lest not to forget about their fellow competitors who are trying to survive and advance through the field here as well. I want to say we appreciate everybody that is hanging out with us here on Turn 200. A bit of a tumultuous week for the series here. We've announced a bit of a hiatus after this season to clean a couple of things up. We appreciate anybody that's out there watching right now. We appreciate everybody that is out here on the track and getting ready to take after it for 200 miles and 200 laps, being led to the green by the champion-elect Caleb Bensey. We are underway at the Milwaukee Mile. Oh, Luke Peterson, big snap oversteer there out of turn 2.
Wow, Ellison sends it there into turn 3. He's working the outside. We'll lose a couple of spots.
Some wiggles there. Bensey to the line, leads the opening lap.
Engrave and Peterson battling hard here. Engrave trying to get around the outside of Peterson and will be clear out of 2.
Peterson slid up right in front of Ellison. Now underneath Ellison, here's Garrett Rainey. Putting the squeeze on there.
Rainey clear for now, but Ellison will try to fight back on the outside. May go for the crossover. Maybe not.
Scott Patton doing a nice job working his way up through the field, already up a few spots to 9th. Benzie is driven away from Sanders, but Schlosser has pulled up to Sanders. That'll be the battle for second if Schlosser can get it done here.
Let's go ahead and go on board with Patton
Whoa!
as he dive bombs Vroman.
Wow, big move there to the inside. Still tight quarters here. Patton on the march. Started in 14th. This is the pass for 8th, and it's done.
We haven't really shown any in-car or in-truck camera views up to this point. I wanted to give the folks a look at just how little banking there is here around Milwaukee, and it to the naked eye looks like negative banking on the inside line just because of that different colored track surface on the bottom. It looks kind of awkward.
Garrett Rainey got out wide. He's opened the door for Scott Patton. Dan Bigland has just gotten through on Jeff Smith to move into the top 10. Patton through to Rainey, or on Rainey to the 7th position now.
And Benzie continues to lead by a large margin here. Nearly up to 2 seconds.
Yeah, putting in a mighty fine clip here to open things up. Sanders in second, Schlosser, Engrave, and Peterson your top 5. Whew. Patton is getting all the life he can out of this truck. He nearly got up into the wall out of turn 2, like you said. Pushing hard, that outside wall comes up on you quick.
Yeah, and these drivers are probably just now starting to feel it. Finally got some laps under their belt. Rubber's starting to get worn out a little bit now. And you got to make sure you get the good turn through the middle of the corner. Otherwise, you could very well see the right front portion of your truck hit that outside wall.
Vroman with a pass on Garrett Rainey now to move up to 8th.
And lap times will start to fall pretty quickly here. When you get to about, especially around 25, 30 laps into the run, you'll see them start to really fall off, but they'll kind of stabilize after that a little bit. Patton working on Ellison now.
That'd be for 6th.
Not quite over the clear.
Ellison looks a little more comfortable in the middle and the top side than, well, just about anybody that's been running it so far. Patton will get the pass done regardless. Fastest truck on track last 2 laps in a row has been Gavin Sanders in second. But still a little under 2 seconds to close up to Caleb Benzie, who may just be trying to settle in here for a long run.
See Ellison trying to fight back as Patton has Luke Peterson to contend with.
Patton, a New Hampshire boy. This is a track pretty similar to New Hampshire, I think only separated by a few degrees of banking. Ran very well here on the Thursday Night League, Maximum Velocity Racing League. Finished second to the machine Ashton Crowder, and is putting in a great opening stint here. Again, started 14th, and this is the pass to get into the top 5 here, coming to lap 13.
Now Steve Roman's starting to work his way into this battle. He's on the outside of Ellison into turn 1.
Ellison put the power down out of 4 and was in a 4-wheel slide. He, I think,
and now
had to answer to that.
Ellison brushes up against the wall just a little bit. Won't hurt him.
Kyle Zittel has passed Dan Miglin to move into the top 10. Just a couple of laps ago. All the chaos of the last few weeks, a 15-lap run here to open this race feels pretty long. It has been a hectic stretch for sure. It's
Well,
about
Milwaukee-
the halfway point in the season.
Yeah, and Milwaukee, I mean, unless you have something early on, usually when the field is able to get spread out, I mean, it is mostly green flag racing unless somebody has a problem getting on and off a pit road or something like that. But also Milwaukee is, it's only a mile long. It seems like it should be shorter as Kyle Zittel's going to get through on Garrett Rainey to get to ninth. So Zittel is on his way forward. With not very much banking, the lap times are more like a 1.5-mile track rather than a mile long.
I think David Guimond just got up into the wall. Yes, the lap times mirror that of a Las Vegas or a Kansas or something similar to it. Around 30 to 31 seconds. At the end of this run, it'll be 32 seconds.
This back half of the field, starting with Zittel, are still battling pretty hard with each other here. The top 5 have kind of all spread out a little bit.
Yeah, Schlosser there for a few laps was right behind Gavin Sanders. They were running in second and third. Now there's a second and a half up from Schlosser to Sanders. And Sanders still a little bit faster than Caleb Benzie, but inconsistently at that.
Daryl Klotz working on Jeff Smith for 13th. And you see Zach Flaum also trying to work on Dan Miglin. Klotz will send it into turn 1. Smith going for a crossover.
Caleb Benzie with some lap traffic. Gets through on David Guimond. And then J.J. Wang, I believe... Oh, go ahead.
Contact between Klotz and Smith back here.
Fighting hard for 13th.
I think
With
you
no... Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go for it.
With no Troy Thomas here tonight, Jeff Smith is now the only driver who has started every single Truck 200 race.
That's a loyalist right there.
Absolutely. We appreciate Troy Thomas, but we also appreciate Jeff Smith. As just up ahead of him, Zach Flaum, podium finisher last week, working on Garrett Rainey.
And Dan Miglin just got around Rainey. Now Flaum working around, slides it there into turn 3. Flaum's been all over the back of Miglin, but they both get through on the 13 for right now. Although Rainey's looking to fight back on Flaum.
And we just had a pass for 4th through 3 and 4 last time. I didn't even see that developing. Hunter Engrave has been passed by Scott Patton. And Matt Schlosser not too far ahead here of the 46. As Rainey now through on Miglin, but Miglin fighting back on the outside. Got a great run there off the top.
Peterson's trying not to fall to the clutches of Steve Roman. Roman's been working forward, or trying to work forward steadily. He was a couple of spots and is now kind of fallen again. He fell 2 or 3 positions right there in that first lap, I think. He's been trying to get back to where he started.
Now, right in front of Gavin Sanders is J.J. Wang. Wang, I believe, had to start from the pits. He entered the session with about a minute left in qualifying. From the sounds of it, he might be a bit under the weather today. As there goes Patton through on Schlosser.
Yeah, Patton drove it really hard there into turn 1, was able to make it stick. But Engrave is right behind Schlosser as well here.
Two wins for Scott Patton last season. After running the entire back half of the schedule, only 2 starts this season, tonight being his second. Ran pretty decent at Atlanta, but did not get the finish to go with it after all that chaos ensued late. So good to see him running a representative here back on the podium.
Here goes Steve Roman. Finally is able to get to the inside of Peterson after working on him for a long time.
So move Roman now up to 6th.
And now Engrave has sent it into turn 1 on Schlosser, just like Scott Patton did a couple laps ago.
And quite a few of these drivers will be in action tomorrow night for the first channel appearance of the Boot at Watkins Glen. I believe tomorrow is the Give Cancer the Boot race for the Venom Truck Series. You're going to be seeing a lot of pink tomorrow night, and that is very exciting. Can't wait to show off all the beautiful schemes and for all the wonderful causes tomorrow night. From the Watkins Glen Boot for the Venom Truck Series, back in action, their second round of the 7th season.
Yeah, you know, they always go out for their paint schemes as well. Peterson, you saw right there, I think that's the first time we've kind of seen how tight you can get here out of the corners. Peterson, I think he stomped on the throttle to try to get that truck turned.
Would not be surprising. And depending on how you play it, you're probably not even halfway through this first run here. As Ellison got awfully tight there, here comes Kyle Zittel underneath.
Almost looked like a little bit of contact.
Ball got awfully close there. Move KZ 53 up to P8. Bensey's led from the pole since the drop of the green, continues to do so. Gavin Sanders in second, Scott Patton in a distant third, but tracking down the top 2. He's the fastest truck on the track right now. Hunter Engrave and Matt Schlosser still pretty close together here in 4th and 5th.
Oh, Ellison, so super loose there out of 4. He chased it nearly down to the inside wall, loses a ton of time there.
Yeah, he's been tracking that truck here for the better part of the last 10 to 15 laps. Started to really have a tough time here.
A big battle here towards the back of the pack. It's for, I think, 13th. It's
Smith and Rainey. Smith tried to send it in there, makes contact.
And now a door from Rainey. And now a door from Smith. Oh, boy.
Bumping and banging all the way into turn 1.
Smith.
Yep, with a bump. Rainey going to try and get away from that one. Not quite a short track, but you could say that's short track racing, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure what happened to Rainey. He's fallen back quite a few positions.
Yeah, I saw that Jeffrey Oakes and Jeff Smith had both gotten around Rainey. Of course, Rainey got the Smith position back there, but I did not see how it happened.
Now up here in the top 10, Roman had gotten around Peterson, but Peterson has not let him go. Peterson actually trying to fight back here. And you mentioned fuel window or pit window. If it's a two-stop strategy here tonight, which I'm not sure it will be, but if it is, you're probably looking at around between laps 65 and 70 for that pit stop. But we're only on lap 36 here, and I mean lap times are a second and a half slower already than they were to begin with. Those first few laps, so I mean. We could potentially be looking at a 3-stop race.
I think for somebody who's struggling a bit at this point in the run, like maybe Paul Ellison, a 3-stop strategy definitely would be inbounds. Jeff Smith has gotten back around Garrett Rainey. Brantley Gainey just got around Dan Miglin as well. So Gainey quietly up a few positions from where he started. Actually, he has regained the ground that he's lost up to this point, I should say. Started in 10th.
Yeah, and didn't see what happened. May have gotten used up a little bit there in the first few laps to lose the positions, or maybe he knows he's going for the 2-stop strategy and didn't want to push very hard there in the beginning of the run. Not sure, but starting to make those positions back up now.
This is the first lap in the last 10 laps that Scott Patton has been slower than Bensy and Sanders. Patton has quite a bit of time to make up still to catch up to Gavin Sanders, but have been doing a pretty nice job up to this point.
We'll go on board with Kyle Zittel, and you can hear just how much he has to get out of the throttle here in the corners to get this truck to turn. And then slides out to the outside wall on exit there in turn 4. I mean, that thing will sneak up on you in a hurry. If you're not careful. He's catching Peterson and Vroman as they continue to battle here.
Kyle, a Wisconsin boy, was at the truck race, the real-life truck race, at Milwaukee this year. It's 41 laps complete. We're roughly halfway through the first fuel run. And the top 3 drivers have fallen off right around, 2 seconds? A little bit under 2 seconds from their best times.
Yeah, we're right under 2 seconds. We're probably at 1.8 right now.
That's still quite a bit.
That's very significant. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of drivers split this up into 4 stints and do 3 pit stops here. Team just come in at lap 50. I mean, when you think about it, at 2 seconds a lap, and we got 30-second laps here when you're at your best, that's only 15 laps to make up a whole lap around here.
Well, you think about that, because my brain's not quite as advanced as yours.
Well, if you multiply 15 laps by the 2 seconds you would make up per lap, that would be 30 seconds, which is a lap time here.
That does sound about right. I reckon that sounds about right.
Of course, that just could be my crew chief math working again, and that's not always correct. Sometimes you tell the driver things that aren't necessarily true just to get them to do what you want.
Jeffrey Oakes threw on Dan Miglin to move up to 12.
Yeah, Miglin's been very up and down here today. He's gained positions, lost positions, everywhere in between. Maybe used up those tires a little bit more than he wanted to there in the beginning. I'm the way that this is starting to shape out, I'm guessing at least half the field is going to go for a 3-stop race.
Yeah, at this point I would not be surprised. No cautions so far, no respite for these drivers, especially some of the guys in the mid-pack here that have been battling pretty much since the drop of the green. Oh, Luke Peterson nearly got up into the wall out of 2. It was awfully close.
We really haven't shown the leader this much. We've been watching everywhere else because Caleb Benzie has been over a second and a half in front of Gavin Sanders this entire race. But let's go ahead and take a look at Season 2 champion.
And this is Season 2, by the way.
Yes, he is already the champ this year.
5 wins this season, pretty much every track type. And with a 1.7 second lead, I will say it's been about 1.7 seconds since about lap 30. So Sanders has done a nice job mirroring some lap times. Dave Payton, who is 1 lap down, says he's coming to pit road this time. So maybe thinking 50, 100, 150 here for 3 sets of freshies.
Well, I'm no mathematician, but that sounds like it'll be right in the middle, and here comes Gavin Sanders.
All right, Garrett Rainey as well.
And this could be potentially what Sanders needs to do to leapfrog Benzie. He's going to make up a lot of time, even if it's just 1 lap.
Dan Miglin is pitting this time as well.
Now Benzie having to contend with Jeff Smith as he is on his way to pit road.
Zachary Flaum,
Oh,
Caleb
Benzie!
Benzie. Wow. Scott Patton.
I take it no black flag since you haven't said anything yet, but boy, that was awful close.
Absolutely sailed it, but no black flag. You are correct.
He tried to pull a Kyle Larson from the race yesterday.
Just about. So leading the race right now is Hunter Engrave. Here comes Jeff Smith down pit road.
And here comes Sanders past Bensey. Bensey's all over Miglin to try to get him through the flat spot on the apron. But it's too late. Sanders has gotten through on pit stops.
Sanders a bit hung up by Darrell Klotz there out of 4. Bensey trying to close the gap.
Oh, Klotz trying to move down the track, but Bensey is coming with a head of steam. This is where things get interesting. We still have 9 drivers that have yet to come down pit road. And we have 10 drivers on fresh tires. A whole heck of a lot faster than the rest of them.
Oh, Sanders trying to find some open ground underneath of Jeffrey Oaks.
This allows Bensey to get the huge run into turn 3. They are 3 wide.
Oaks says he's pitting this time, trying to get out of the way, but stay in line for pit road. Sanders hangs on to the top spot for now. Or what will be the top spot, rather. Right now, I guess it's just the battle for 8th, but we're watching intently. And Eric Breeding in the chat, just in time for some pretty good battling here in Milwaukee. How's it going, partner? I can imagine Breeding is a sneaky good road course racer. Probably looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, a little bit of a change-up. Got the boot with Watkins Glen. I know you and I are very excited about it.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and go on board for this battle that will be for the lead after everybody cycles through. Caleb Bensey attempting to work on Gavin Sanders here.
Yep, so this is for 8th right now. Still waiting on Engrave, Schlosser, Vroman, Peterson, Zittel, Ellison, Gainey. The top 7 to hit pit road. In theory, they can go another 25 to 30 laps. We'll see if any of them want to push that far. A couple of those surprised me. Vroman is not one of them. Paul Ellison is.
Yeah, Ellison seemed like he was struggling early on here, a lot earlier than some of the other drivers anyways, but he's elected to go ahead and stay out.
Something else I want to point out as well as we're watching this battle for what will become the lead. It is about to be for 7th as Brantley Gainey is right ahead of these two. Gavin Sanders gets right up to the wall. But don't look now, Scott Patton was 3.5 seconds behind Gavin Sanders when they came into pit. He is now 2 seconds behind this battle. So he is quicker yet.
Oh, man. Little awkward trying to get around Gainey there for Caleb Bensey. And these two battling is certainly having an effect on that.
Yes. More slower traffic ahead. Hunter Engrave is doing a nice job showing the way here. Since the start of pit stops, has a 2-second advantage on Matt Schlosser, who has his hands full with Steve Vroman.
And now here comes Schlosser.
Oh boy, Sanders! Oh man, nearly into Dave Payton. 4 wide. Wang rolls out of it. Crisis averted for now, at least. Matt Schlosser, Kyle Zittel to pit road.
I don't think Schlosser wanted Steve Roman on his tail any longer like he was.
Probably not.
Next up is Paul Ellison for Sanders. He'll reach him out of 4.
Gap back from Bensi. Oh, as Ellison squeezes the 29 there. Gap back from Bensi to Patton is a second and a half. Scott Patton is closed in quickly.
Five drivers still yet to come down pit road. 2 of them are Vroman and Peterson, who are duking it out for second right now. Certainly not doing themselves any favors.
Patton has passed Ellison. This is Kyle Zittel on fresher tires right behind this trio here, or right behind this duo, rather.
And
Helps
right behind
Peterson
them,
along.
it's Sanders and Bensi. This could get sticky pretty quick.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Oh, hope Roman didn't want to pit that time.
There goes
Here's Hunter
Engrave.
So Peterson in front is the race leader now. So Sanders underneath. This will be for the top spot. And the train will keep on rolling. There goes Caleb Bensi through to second. Peterson back to third. Roman and Patton right behind them.
So for those that haven't pit, they've run 15 more laps. Then Sanders and Bensi and Patton here. And they're right on the number where you would like to be for a 2-stop strategy. Right here between laps 65 and 70 is where you want to be.
Scott Patton threw on Vroman and Peterson. So he moves up into third.
Bensi underneath Sanders here in turns 3 and 4.
Bensi trying to reclaim the lead. Sanders got it for 1 lap. Bensi says, "Thank you very much. I'll take that right back."
I'm curious to see as this run continues where Patton ends up in relation to these two. I'm curious if Patton's really been pushing hard to try to make up that track position and then may fade later, or if Bensi and Sanders have been pushing each other so hard that it's really not going to matter.
There are a lot of variables in that equation for sure. All I can tell you with certainty is that the entire back half of that run, Patton was faster than both of these two. Of the opening run, that is, not of this run. Patton is still faster than these two. We'll see if they can sustain that pace, especially now since they're about to be nose to tail for the top 3.
Hunter Engrave's gotten through on Zach Flaum. That is for 9th. Now Kyle Zittel's right there in that fight as well.
Here comes Garrett Rainey to pit road, and I think he's picked up the black flag.
So drivers currently running 4th through 7th still have not come down pit road. Most certainly going for the 2-stop strategy here. And I think their number is going to be coming very quickly, if not within the next lap or two. They are within their window. They don't want to lose too much time to these 3 and Bensy, Sanders, and Patton. Would not be surprised to see them come down soon.
They could very well potentially stave an entire pit stop. There's some math to do. There's some figuring, some equationating. Too much on the leg, says Garrett Rainey. Yes, it's a lot. Especially since I don't know what a kilometer is. Sanders has faded a touch. Scott Patton is here and trying to find a way around Gavin Sanders. These two had a tangle at Interlagos last season. I think this is probably the first time they've seen each other since then.
And you hear Patton shifting in the corners here.
Luke Peterson pitting this time from fourth.
That will likely bring all 4 of those drivers in.
You would think so. This may be one where they want to stagger it a bit. It's a tough pit road entry. I would hate to come in behind my teammate and absolutely smoke him.
Or anybody for that matter.
Well,
Hit the barrels on the inside, something like that.
yes. Peterson
Not that
was the only
anybody's
one.
ever done that.
No. And not anybody from Wisconsin either. I'm not talking about Kyle Larson. I'm talking about Matt Kenseth. He hasn't done that at Dover. Surely.
Wow, Patton is right here on the bumper now.
Yeah, he's been looking for ways to get around Sanders the last couple of laps. It doesn't seem to be bothering Sanders all that much. He's keeping pace. Oh, Pat nearly wiggle into the wall there. Paul Ellison pitting now from 5th. We're getting ready to. Pat right here.
We got that camera view out, the rear bumper of Sanders, and when we put it on, he had a grill and a big bow tie right behind it.
Say that might wind up in a Chevy ad somewhere. Not only did Paul Ellison come in last time, Steve Vroman did as well.
Patton tried to dive and get an inside positioning on Sanders. Wasn't quite able to do it.
And lap 77, last of the holdouts, Brantley Gainey has come down pit road. I think that is everybody.
Sanders and Patton now have to get through some lap traffic here.
He got a little wide there into one. Allows Sanders to regain a little bit of lost time. It's just a tick over half a second. And you can count the gap from Sanders back to Patton in feet.
Well, after getting around Flaum, the leaders have now passed up to 7th place.
Wow. It's a road course-like performance here. But instead of just it being one driver tonight, we've got 3. Of course, Sandy and Bensers is what I was about to say. Bensy and Sanders, of course, put on that clinic at the Daytona road course. We saw this a couple of weeks ago. I think it was 2 races ago now in Max V, where Scott Patton was up towards the front at Richmond, had caught the leader, and was trying to make his way to the lead. But with a good defensive line from the driver in front, it's just so impossible to find your way around the driver in front of you. And it seems to be the same sort of case here.
Well, I mean, all of these drivers have similar pace. We saw that in the first run. Of course, Patton looked to be a little bit faster. But when you're, even if you are a little bit faster, when you're running a similar pace as Patton now dives to the inside again.
Sanders stays in that line, maybe looking for some momentum from the banking, but not going to find it. Patton has the run, and will have the positioning here into 3.
Sanders trying to squeeze Patton down, slides underneath.
And that's all it takes. One slip up from Sanders, leaves the door open. Patton goes for it, and Patton now up to second with 1 second up to the race leader.
May have been a little race craftsmanship there. We saw Patton kind of dive to the inside of Sanders a couple times, but never actually take the run or take the shot. Maybe lulled Sanders into a little bit of a place of complacency there, not thinking that Patton was going to try to make that move, and then all of a sudden, there it is.
Sanders, of course, I believe the first of these 3 to pit. That's how he got the lead. And may have used it up just a little bit, either that or just taking a breather. We're probably about 15 laps from their second round of pit stops, unless they want to push it a little bit further. They can go to about 130 if they really feel like it.
Now J.J. Wang getting around Sanders on fresh tires. Sanders is having some blinking issues here, I think. Or was there for a moment.
I think so. I think Luke Peterson has gotten by him as well.
Sanders has lost a lot of time here in the last couple laps.
Yes. Dan Miglin has just come to pit road. He only went 35 laps on that stint, so that's a short stint here. Scott Patton has cut the gap up to about 2 truck lengths. Got a really clean entry into 1 there. And we mentioned Scott, of course, a New Hampshire-based driver. His affinity for New Hampshire Motor Speedway, very similar. Not a 1-to-1, but close enough for Patton to be able to show the kind of pace he's got, as Bensi has a handful out of 4. Patton sizing up Caleb Bensi for the race lead.
Something that Patton does so well is getting off throttle and rolling through the middle of the corner really nicely, and then as soon as he gets to the point where the truck starts to turn for him, he shifts down into 3rd to try to get some drive off. But he does a great job of rolling through the middle to get the turn in the middle of the corner to get that truck pointed a little bit straighter out so he can get the power down. And is now right on the bumper of Caleb Bensi.
Here we go.
Whoa!
For the lead. Patton rolls it so nice in the middle. Bensey maybe looking for a crossover. Trying to ease onto the access road. Not going to get it. Patton to the lead. Can Bensey fight back? Patton a little bit off the curbing there. It's a pretty good exit. So Scott Patton, how about it? Started at 14th and has taken the lead.
Whoa, we're on board with Bensey. You saw he tried to shift down to third there, and as soon as he did and tried to get on the throttle, the rear end tried to kick out on him. He did not like that at all.
Yeah, his
So-
truck is looking a little squirmy.
There was a lot of wheel movement there through the middle of turns 3 and 4 that last time around.
Now here's Luke Peterson. Remember, he was one of the last 4 drivers to come down pit road way after Caleb Bensey here. And he is trying to find a way to get around and get himself back onto the lead lap here.
Yeah, and Peterson at this point only has maybe 20 laps on that set of tires. And it's 42 for Bensey and Patton. Peterson thought about making that move to the inside, then backed off.
Yeah, Bensey's doing his best here to fend off Luke Peterson, to not lose any time. He's got another 3 seconds back to Gavin Sanders, who, like you said, faded away pretty quickly here from the battle for the top spot. Sanders is 17 seconds clear of Hunter Engrave, who has fresher tires than all the top 3, but a lot of time to overcome here.
Peterson trying to set up and manufacture a run. May have it here, not quite. Good thing for Peterson is these two are probably coming down pit road in the next 5 laps.
What do you think the chances are that maybe Gavin Sanders will stretch it out to lap 130 and make his, what we thought would be his second pit stop, his final pit stop instead?
Honestly, pretty low at this point. I think he pushed really, really hard to try and maintain the lead and then also try to maintain second. And, I mean, I think you have to come in and stick to your game plan at this point. I think if he tried to get to 130, he would really, really be hurting at the end of the run.
Gavin Sanders' last lap exactly 0.3 slower than Scott Patton, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but over the course of an entire fuel run of 50 to 80 laps, that's quite a bit.
Peterson still trying to find an opening. May have it here.
Nope. Tries to fall back into line.
Looked like he may have had the position there on the inside, but either elected to not take it or couldn't quite get the run.
I think Peterson's hoping to be able to say after this one, regardless of the circumstances, hey, I passed Caleb Bensey. Not a whole lot of people can say they've done that this season.
That is certainly true.
And Scott Patton is one of those people. He continues to lead after a great drive through the field. Approaching our second round of pit stops for the 3 stop drivers.
Oh, Peterson sends
wow. Nearly into the left rear quarter there. And now he's loose.
Peterson's tired of waiting.
Yes.
He really needed to be able to run his laps to make this work. And it's just not going to be able to get done here.
Now Peterson is 4 seconds clear of Steve Roman. And this is Peterson in 7th here, as we are officially across the halfway mark of this race.
I mean, Peterson's wasted about 10 laps. Where
Caleb Benzie has hit that he is pitting this time, so Peterson is going to get his clean air.
Maybe too late.
Maybe. Here's Benzie with a big send onto pit road again. Oh, man. A lot more aggressive that time. It's still no black flag. Maybe not from a speed standpoint, but man, he is getting that truck all sorts of out of shape. Here comes Zachary Flaum.
Sanders has decided to stay out for now. And here comes Scott Patton.
From the lead. Gavin Sanders still out there. He was the first of these 3 to pit last time. And Sanders will go past pit entry again.
Benzie has gotten around Scott Patton.
Wow.
So Patton will have to get around Benzie once again here.
About 0.8 of a second to try and make up. These two are just barely on the lead lap right now. Jeff Smith coming to pit road.
Sanders goes by pit road once again, and you could be right. Maybe Sanders at this point is thinking he doesn't have the pace, but if he can play his cards right and there's an extra, if he has an extra set of tires, if a late caution comes out, that may be his opportunity to win this thing.
So we'll have to see. Lap 106 on the board. Sanders and Raven Schlosser, the top 3, and actually now move Benzie up to 3rd. Schlosser yet to pit. So is Engrave, still waiting on his pit stop.
Patton gets around Schlosser here as well now. Just about 4 truck lengths behind Benzie. Maybe a little bit more now. But now Benzie has more lap traffic to contend with here. And one of them will be for position. It'll be Hunter Engrave in the 56.
Engrave, depended on how the strategy with Gavin Sanders plays out, might be on for a podium. We'll have to see. Leaves the door open for Patton. Patton will sneak through here as well. I think Jeff Smith just had to make a save down the backstretch, dipped into the grass. they're battling for position in front of the race leader. Actually scratched that. That is Zach Flauman lapping himself on much fresher tires to Steve Roman. So still waiting on the pit stop for Gavin Sanders. He's got 17 seconds back to Caleb Bensey, now making 16 and a half. But Bensey with Scott Patton right behind him. And Patton really came to life in the middle of that run.
And there's not really any other battles on the track right now. Everybody's pretty spread out here. You see trucks close together on the camera, but they are not on the same lap here. We have some drivers that are 4 or 5 laps down now.
Darrell Klotz onto pit road. And his teammate Jeffrey Oakes comes in as well. Yeah, strategy all over the place, trucks all over the place. Quite a bit to keep track of.
Well, that's a good thing we got some handy-dandy live timing and scoring here.
Absolutely.
Don't mention them much, but shout out to SDK Gaming for the overlays. No, they're not a sponsor, but
you know,
maybe we can get them too.
You never know. Well, we said this is going to be a long one, folks, and it sure is. We're just over halfway, and we're about to hit the 1 hour mark. We're on pace for about an hour and 45 minutes. And that's if we can keep up this remarkable green to checker run that we're on for right now.
Oh! And just as you say it, Klotz has gone sideways.
Locks it down. We're going to stay green.
Yeah, he's gonna
Nice
get
job.
He's gonna get it rolling here, but boy, you just about jinxed that one immediately.
Just about did. Certainly. Nice job by Darrell Klotz to lock that one down.
And now here comes Patton. It's deja vu all over again. Patton rolling the middle of the corner very nicely here, right up to the bumper. Caleb Bensey. Something tells me we might see it one more time, even if Patton's able to get around Bensey.
Bensey gets great, crazy pit entries. But, I mean, it almost looks like Scott Patton bot. Like he's an AI. He is rolling these corners so smooth. It's unreal. No, I promise it's not a bot. It's actually Scott Patton working in there. And he is going to have to work for it again. Bensey using the middle. Good defense from the champ. Fends off Patton for another go-around. But lap traffic ahead.
Problem for Bensey this time is he's going to have to clock in.
And he's loose!
Oh!
All sorts of loose out of 4. That's a big problem. Here's Patton again now to the inside. Brantley Gainey ahead. And Bensey cedes the lead. Or what will be the lead. We're still waiting pit stop from Gavin Sanders. But these two, even in their battling, they have cut into that gap significantly. Under 10 seconds now.
Patton's the one that now has to work through the lap traffic. Bensey has a lot more laps to try to hang on to Patton here before the next round of pit stops. think the last time around it was only about 15 laps. This time it's over 30 that Bensi will have to try to stick to the backside of the 46.
Matt Schlosser to the pits from 6th. Patton, 0.8 of a second quicker than Gavin Sanders last lap.
All things considered,
That's
not a
bad.
crazy number.
No. We are expecting Gavin Sanders into the pits in the next 10 to 15 laps. I would say probably on the lower end of that window.
Yeah, you may have hit it right on the head there with lap 130.
Total shot in the dark.
70 laps to the end is very doable. However, if he does make it, this run will end up being 80 laps, which is a long ways to go. He may end up splitting the difference. Could be on lap 125. Between 125 and 130, it would be the guess here. But you made a good call with it.
Not often my alternate strategies and conspiracy theories actually end up landing somewhere, but, I'm happy to get one right every now and then.
Well, the big thing that does for him is it gives him an extra set of tires at the end, too. So if Patton and Sanders come down lap 150 or just around there like we would expect, and there ends up being a caution come out with 20 laps to go, Sanders will be in absolutely prime position to take that win.
Sanders will not be the only driver on the two-stop strategy. I believe Zittel, Peterson, Vroman, and Ellison, and Brantley Gainey all are going for two-stoppers as well, if I'm not mistaken.
And speaking of Vroman and Peterson, Vroman is getting around Peterson right now to take the 6th position. But they will likely be coming down pit road here before too long.
I believe Peterson was the first of these drivers to pit. He pit on lap 72.
Gap between Patton and Bensi now is about 1.5 seconds. So Patton's starting to put the time and the distance between him and the 29.
And Patton to Sanders, 5 seconds. This is right about the time when we're expecting Sanders to come down pit road.
Sanders is certainly not out of this, even without a caution coming out.
True.
I think this was a good move by Sanders. If he can stay in front of them on the pit stop, he may be in pretty good shape to at least be close.
Gavin Sanders says pitting next time. Should be coming to lap 127. It's a pretty good stint here. Patton is clear on Caleb Bensi to the tune of about 2 seconds.
Here comes Hunter Angrave down pit road.
And here's Gavin Sanders. Trying to maximize pit entry.
Yeah,
And
pretty
he does.
conservative there.
Well, a little bit of the Bensi wiggle on his way in. I
guess
didn't
when
fear
we've
for his safety at any point.
yeah, I guess when we've watched Caleb Bensi, anything looks conservative compared to
Yeah,
that.
certainly. But again, no penalties.
We'll have to see where Sanders ends up cycling out here. Patton's out of turn 4 right now. Bensi is on his way out. on the apron as we speak. And should be able to stay in front. And does. Has a couple of trucks to pass here, but after he gets through them, has some room to work. Has pretty clear track in front of Jeff Smith.
Yep, Sanders, that was a pass for position on Kyle Zittel. So the Wisconsin boy got a look on the podium there for about 2 turns, and Sanders took it right back, but a huge wiggle there and a save from Gavin Sanders. Cold tires. They'll creep up on you.
And Kyle Zittel, he's run a lot of laps here.
Sure.
He came into pit on lap 60.
Wow.
So Sanders came into pit on lap 50. So Zittel hasn't run as far as Sanders has, but has definitely run the second longest run here tonight. And could potentially be going for more.
Lots of strategies abound.
The gap from Sanders to Bensi is 22 seconds right now. But it will shrink.
And that's 25 up to the lead as Scott Patton has done a nice job scooting away from Bensi.
Vroman is now working on Kyle Zittel. Vroman on the 2-stop strategy as well. And Kyle Zittel's coming down pit road now.
So here's Zittel. Brantley Gainey in as well. Well, I hope nobody in the field here worked out before this race.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some leg pump going on. In motocross, they talk about arm pump. This is leg pump right here.
I don't know, this is about the time that my shoulders would be absolutely killing me.
Well, that too.
It truly is everything day here at the Milwaukee Mile.
I don't know. I'm not sure you'd be hurting too bad. Here's Sanders trying to get around Zach Flaum.
Flaum pit on the same lap as Caleb Bensi this last time. Of course, Sanders and Flaum were 2 of the 3 drivers on the podium last week, and one of the more memorable finishes we've had here on the channel. I think that's fair to say.
Certainly.
A 3-wide blockade into the Tri-Oval at Talladega was never one I had on my bingo card, but it certainly happened.
Last lap around for Sanders, even with a little bit of traffic there with Flaum, was a 30.75. Bensi a 31.5.
At that time, pretty much traffic-free, a 30.4 for Sanders.
So over a second faster than Bensi that time around.
And that gap was over 20 seconds. It's now down to 16. So it's coming down. With another pit stop to go for the top 2, Sanders going to be in an interesting position here down the stretch.
Boy, big battle. Engrave and Schlosser. This is for 7th. Engrave dives to the inside here in turn 3.
He'll take it.
Paul Ellison down pit road for his final pit stop.
That was about a 60-lap stint for Ellison there as well.
Only 2 drivers that have yet to make their second pit stop here. That's Steve Roman and Luke Peterson. Currently running 4th and 5th respectively. We saw Roman get around Peterson here not too long ago. But they've decided to stretch it out again.
I mean, do we even have to say it for Steve Roman?
That's a good point. Although he's been a little more conservative on his strategies as of late, I feel like. Either that or we just haven't given him the opportunity to take the bold ones.
I was going to say, of late, we've not really had that much room for pit strategy, is my feeling on that, at least on Monday nights. Tuesday's back in action. Who knows what we'll be seeing here as Zittel and Flaum got awfully close together there in 1 and 2.
Zittel on 30 lap fresher tires and Flaum, but Flaum is trying to block him.
Zittel might find the ground on the outside, cross him over. Should have a nice look here in 1.
I don't think Zittel will be patient. Flaum probably needs to let him go.
Yep. Not at the home track, partner.
Certainly.
So that puts Zittel up to spot number 8. With his final pit stop of the day through.
Gap between Benzie and Patton. Expecting them to come in about 10 laps. Patton has really stretched it out. 5 seconds now between Patton and Benzie.
Oh, Gavin Sanders is around on the inside of 3 and 4.
No.
I'm not sure if he's going to get the truck going or nope. He is towed back to the pits. What has happened to Gavin Sanders?
Wow. I'll try to find that replay. Not even going to get to see how the strategy would have played out.
Oh, man.
I was excited for that one.
I think we all were.
Let's see. Sanders all by himself into turn 1 here. And he just gets loose. He may have accidentally downshifted twice. Here the RPMs skyrocket. Let's go to cockpit view here and see. And may have had some technical issues. He's still in 3rd gear out of turn 4 and has never shifts to 4th. So may have been some technical issues here for Gavin Sanders. It takes him out of this one.
That's strange.
And then we hear him trying to shift as he stopped on the racetrack before he tows. You can hear him trying to click through the gears. Very strange. You kind of hit it right in the head there.
Now remember, after it was either his first pit stop or second pit stop, right after he let Scott Patton go through, he gave up a huge amount of time in the next lap. So I wonder if a similar issue had happened then and he was able to work through it. This time not, and unfortunately that is the end of the night for him. He is disconnected from the session. So man, that really put a wrench in our programming late in this one. But I'm sure Sanders is going to be very disappointed with how this one ends here.
Angrave has now gotten through on Luke Peterson. Luke Peterson is coming into pit now. Peterson had stretched that run out a long, long ways.
That leaves Steve Roman left out on the track here. Roman last pit on lap 75.
Yeah, it looks like Vroman's going for 75, 75, and then 50 to end this.
Not bad. Man, oh man. That's just... man, that sucks.
Yeah.
I was very excited for that. Scott Patton right now by almost 7 seconds. He has just done an unbelievable job as Jeff Smith is out of shape down the front stretch. Wow.
Now J.J. Wang on fresh tires trying to get through on Benzie as well. Benzie's going through it right now.
Yes. Oh!
Oh,
Contact. Just a skosh. The kiss of the wall there for good measure. And I believe Wang and Smith are right here in front of Caleb Bensie's 4th position. It'd be for 13th. And Wang will take the spot. Here is Luke Peterson absolutely carving these guys up. He just passed Gainey and Engrave in 3 and 4. Again, much fresher tires. He is absolutely clawing his way through the field here.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Benzie come down pit road here soon. But Peterson, you mentioned it, working through some traffic here, and this is a traffic jam.
Yes.
And between Peterson and Brantley Gainey, it's 4th position. For everybody else, not so much.
No. Oh, Peterson into the back of Benzie. Peterson's got the fresher rubber, of course, than anybody else here, but that includes Brantley Gainey as there's Steve Vroman down pit road on lap 150. I did, Matt Houston. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Benzie out wide. Here goes Peterson. Again, not for position, but Peterson is got the freshest rubber out on the track until Steve Vroman leaves pit road. So it's like a close call between Scott Patton and Paul Ellison. Ellison on fresher tires trying to unlap himself.
Gainey has now gotten around Benzie as well. Would not be surprised to see Benzie come down pit road in the next lap or two.
Oh, man. Full slide there at a 4. Gap is 10 seconds from Patton back to Benzie.
Oh, boy. Luke Peterson still trying to make up positions. Engrave's fighting back on the inside. They have Zach Flaum in front of him. And that is 4th position for Peterson. The Peterson's going to send it around the outside.
Now the battling between Peterson and Engrave is not for position. I think Engrave in 3rd is a lap down, but still waiting the top 2 to hit pit road.
And here comes Flaum. Flaum is on that 3-stop strategy. He last came in on lap 100. So Flaum's going to give himself 44 laps to finish this thing off. As Benzie and Patton continue to motor on through.
and out of pit road without issue. Try and get these tires up to temp.
Here comes Scott Patton.
So Patton beats Benzie onto pit road. And Benzie is going to answer this time. Full send again. Jeff Smith follows Benzie in.
And this means Engrave, well, will not lead a lap here.
I don't believe so.
So.
No, he has yet to pass Benzie or Patton for position. Now goes past Benzie. Will not get past Scott Patton. The gap was about 10.25 seconds before the pit stop. We'll have to see who did a better job getting in and getting out. And I'm showing about 11-second gap, so I think Patton by a tenth or so. And Benzie has to pass Hunter Engrave here for that second position.
And Engrave has 40 laps, or 35 laps on the tires here, so quick work for Benzie.
A little bit easier than some of the battles that he's been a part of the last handful of laps.
Certainly.
So we'll wait to see where the three stoppers are going to shake out here before we go all the way through the field. What I can tell you with some confidence is that we've got 15 drivers running out of the 19 that took the green flag. And I think only maybe 5 of those on the lead lap as they run currently. I can't say with any confidence who's going to be on the lead lap at the end of this one. It may be less than 5, which is just incredible. Scott Patton has been on an absolute tear up to this point. Not really anybody too close for position right now. Certainly nobody within a second. Paul Ellison trying to track down Steve Vroman is about the closest thing that we've got, but they've got some work between them. Oh, Darrell Klotz is around at the entrance to pit road, is going to get it righted. And we'll keep it on the front stretch and keep it rolling. We're going to keep it green. And he had just been on to pit about 3 laps ago, so still trying to get these tires up to temp. And Brantley Gainey trying to get me to throw a caution. He sees debris on the backstretch, apparently.
A plastic bottle cap or something of the likes, I'm sure. Something definitely large that you can see. And you mentioned Ellison and Vroman. Vroman on fresher tires than Ellison. Vroman's actually tracking down Kyle Zittel for 5th.
You are indeed correct.
But has 2 trucks in between them. And all 3 of these trucks have at least 20 lap fresher tires, if not more than Kyle Zittel. Only Vroman for position, though.
Matt Schlosser has just fallen a lap down to the race leader. Schlosser in 4th. I think he'll be excited to go road racing tomorrow. He's part of the Venom Truck Series now. A quiet Daytona. He came away with a decent position. Dave Payton has gone around on the bottom of 1 and 2.
Payton's trying to get it back to pit road backwards.
Not an easy position to be in there. And is going to get it turned around. We're going to stay green.
Vroman has gotten around Kyle Zittel. Vroman got around Zittel into turn 1 there.
Well, if you get 50 feet to go backwards, I think Dave Payton took 48 of it.
Next up for Vroman is Matt Schlosser. Schlosser, 4.7 seconds in front of Vroman. However, Vroman has 33 laps newer tires than Schlosser, so we'll probably be closing this gap quickly.
And Race First in the chat saying Brantley Gainey should employ the Clint Boyer strategy of itching your scratchy arm. Scratching your itchy arm? Yeah, there we go.
Wow, you see Jeff Smith in front of Roman. Has to use the entire racetrack to save it.
We've seen some great saves thus far. Like you mentioned, it's tough on cold tires the first few laps, but as soon as that goes away, you're pushing hard, you find yourself to the wall right away, and then the loose condition kicks right back in. These drivers will have to walk it a long way to get it back on track. Sometimes literally.
Vroman is catching Schlosser here. You see Schlosser in view. He's the next truck in front of Jeff Smith in the green truck. Vroman closing the gap about a second a lap right now. Or at least it was the last time around. Also of note, Vroman is not shifting like a lot of our other drivers have been here tonight.
Interesting.
I would have thought having a shorter stint, you may do it. I can understand on his 75 lap stints trying to not create tire spin to keep some life in him, but just feels comfortable not shifting right now, I suppose.
And not that I'm anywhere on the level of these drivers, certainly not, but doing doing the setup testing for this track, I honestly did a lot of laps here, forgetting that you do shift here, or that I would normally shift here. Did a league recruitment race at the Venom Truck Series here ahead of their last season, and was shifting the whole time. I think maybe it's just a difference in setup. Of course, we've rolled out a whole new truck and truck model since then. So maybe it's just right on that edge where you don't really have to. It doesn't seem to be affecting Roman all that much as he has reeled in Matt Schlosser. Bensi has caught Vroman here. Of course, this is not for position. Bensi doing all he can to try and save this race or get himself back into the winner's circle. But Scott Patton, I mean, he's done a remarkable job up front. 12 seconds ahead. That gap continues to grow here as Bensi having some trouble getting through Matt Schlosser.
Yeah, and you're right. It hurt Vroman at first, but Vroman might be able to use this to try and get around Schlosser here. Bensi's now gotten around. We'll see what kind of a run Vroman can get.
Schlosser, a bit of a wiggle there out of 4. Vroman will look to the outside. May look for a crossover here out of 2. Puts the power down. And Schlosser, again, a bit loose. Vroman is going to inch his way closer. And the longer Schlosser can fight to hold on to this position before Vroman gets around, is the less laps he has to play defense for Kyle Zittel, who is approaching this battle once again.
Well, yeah, with Vroman not able to get around Schlosser, Zittel is now catching Vroman.
It was over 2 seconds. It's down to 1.4. Again to the outside. Thought about the crossover.
Wow, making that pass on the outside is not easy. I can't even believe he got the nose out to the outside there.
Good drive off this time. This might be the opportunity, and it is. Schlosser pounds the wall. Hopefully that did not give him a meatball, but that was some huge contact there. And now he's on defense again. Kyle Zittel, 2 truck legs behind. Move Roman to 4th. Schlosser trying to stay in the top 5. And Schlosser looks like he might be coming to pit here, and he is. So he did not pick up a meatball flag, but I mean, that's a tough deal right there.
Yeah, certainly that truck probably does not feel very good right now for Schlosser. He's definitely going to lose at least one more position. Already has to Luke Peterson. Actually, he's lost a couple to Ellison and Peterson. Now Brantley Gainey's gone through. A costly mistake there for Matt Schlosser.
Should be able to hold on to 10th. He's in 9th right now. Actually will hold on to 9th. At least for the time being. Actually comes out right behind Steve Roman. Go figure. But Schlosser qualified on the outside pole here. Finds some trouble late in the going. As race leader Scott Patton working lap 185. The 15 to go at the stripe. And a welcome return to Monday nights for Scott Patton. So with that battling over, it's pretty well spread out again through most of the field. Zittel and Vroman are still the two closest trucks for position, and Vroman has opened the gap back up to about 2 seconds after the excitement there. And I think the drivers that are going to be racing tomorrow night at the Boot in Watkins Glen, the ones who are not here tonight may have the upper hand on the drivers that showed up here tonight. Just a guess. Because they have been going nonstop for the last hour and 40 minutes, and still some work to do. Pat leading Bensey by 13.5 seconds. Hunter Engrave in third. Steve Vroman in fourth. Kyle Zittel, your top five. Paul Ellison, Luke Peterson, Brantley Gainey, Matt Schlosser, Zachary Flaum rounds out the top 10. JJ Wang, Jeffrey Oakes, Daryl Klotz, Jeff Smith, Dave Payton, and Dan Miglin. The 16 survivors of this race. Gavin Sanders, with what seemed to be some equipment failure, will finish in 17th. Garrett Rainey in 18th, resting up for tomorrow night at the Boot. And an early exit for David Guimond here tonight. Patton at the line will put 10 to go up on the board. 10 more miles to finish this one out. Matt Schlosser on fresher tires has tracked down Brantley Gainey. And that will be the battle for 8th, but I'm not sure it's going to be much of a battle. Schlosser has closed that gap in a hurry.
Yeah, and Schlosser obviously just came down pit road about 10 laps ago. Schlosser tried to force the issue to the inside. Not really sure it's necessary. I think he will get the run on Gainey regardless, but...
Certainly. No crisis averted.
For now.
For now. Here we go again. This time, Gainey a lot more room there on the bottom. Not that he was trying to leave room the first time around, but, you know, when you got the pace, you... that may have looked a little more inviting than it was. And also, I'm sure a bit of frustration on Schlosser's side of things. I don't think he was planning on pitting again before he hit the wall, unless I'm mistaken about his strategy. But I can't imagine he's going to be too happy settling for 8th when he could have had a top 5. But with that now, it's back to the status quo. Closest battle on the track then would be Luke Peterson and Paul Ellison. Peterson about 3 seconds behind Ellison, so not really that close. We were sort of wondering, of course, how Gavin Sanders was going to factor into the equation here for the finish. But his problems have opened up Hunter Engrave to finish on the podium, assuming they finish like they do here. And Engrave, of course, missed a couple of races. Looked pretty good at Talladega last week, though. And should inherit, I think, third spot in points here tonight with Roland Holt thrown in the towel on the season. But a third-place finish for Hunter Engrave ought to be pretty tasty here when we're coming down the stretch in the season standings. Three and a half laps to go. And I've got a trivia question for you. See if you know the answer.
This ought to be good.
Who was the first driver I said grabbed their pole?
Oh, boy. I would guess Ryan Dye, but he's not in this race, so I'm guessing that's not the answer.
Nope, that would be correct. It is not Ryan Dye.
Scott Patton?
It would be Scott Patton. I do not remember what track, but I believe it was in his first race.
That'd have been maybe Chicagoland?
Either Chicagoland or Gateway. I think Chicagoland, yes. I absolutely said he grabbed his pole instead of he grabbed the pole in his first race, which is what I was trying to say. A quote that has gone down in infamy.
Yes, lucky for you, it's stuck.
Scott Patton did not grab his pole here tonight. Quite the opposite. Qualified 14th, but with the white flag waving. Both in the flag stand and in the cockpit of pretty much every driver at this point, I would imagine. Scott Patton half a lap from taking his third career victory. And it's his first of the season. Welcome back to victory lane. Scott Patton takes the win at the Milwaukee Mile. Caleb Bensey finishes in second, and he is the last driver on the lead lap. Holy cow.
Wow.
That is 10 wins in a row for Chevy in league competition, by the way. Third win of the season for Scott Patton, or his third win of his career for Scott Patton. First of the season in his second start. And putting this Chevy power plant through its paces. It's going to park it at the stripe. And with that, we'll take a look at the full finishing results here. Scott Patton puts a whipping on the field. Caleb Bensey will finish in second. Hunter Engrave rounds up the podium. We'll talk to all three of these gentlemen momentarily. Steve Roman in fourth. Kyle Zittel rounds out your top five. Paul Ellison in sixth. 2 laps down in seventh is Luke Peterson. Matt Schlosser will finish in eighth. Brantley Gainey in ninth. He said there was still debris on the backstretch. We'll have to check into that, of course, after the race. And Zachary Flaum rounds out your top 10. JJ Wang didn't talk a whole lot about him here tonight, but that's quite the effort, all things considered. P11 for him. Jeffrey Oakes in 12th. Thanks to Daryl Klotz for the thumbnail here tonight. He finishes in 13th. Jeff Smith will finish in 14th. Dave Payton, then the last truck running in P15. Dan Miglin, I think technically didn't finish the race. He finishes in 16th. Gavin Sanders certainly did not finish the race. And disappointed about that for sure, but things out of all of our control. He finishes 17th. Garrett Rainey in 18th, and David Guimond, the 19th and final finisher here, as it is now time for podium interviews. And we will talk to your third place finisher here. It is Hunter Engrave back on the podium here tonight. A nice run here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's our first flag to flag oval race, I think, since Iowa last season, which you were not a part of. This one, this one was long. We knew it was going to be long. And then there were no cautions. I'm sure probably a bit worn out after that.
Oh yeah, for sure. My room feels like it's 800 degrees, so it feels like I ran a marathon. But yeah, it was really cool to have a 200 lap green flag run. I've never had that in all my racing career, so that was very cool.
Well, we're happy to get that one checked off the list for you. Matt, what do you got?
Well, congrats on the P3. I know with 200 laps here tonight, it kind of opened up the Pandora's box of pit strategy for everybody here tonight. Did you kind of follow that as you had planned to, or did you make some adjustments throughout the race here?
My goal was at the beginning to do a 3-stop, but then the top 3 were kind of just pulling away, so I thought I'd try a 2-stop, try to maybe cut out one less, but the 3-stop was the dominant one. But I was basically keeping my eyes on the Alabama guys and Matt. Basically, were the people I knew that I was competing with. Caleb, Scott, Gavin, were all way faster. So I was just trying to get off strategy, try something different, but them guys were all faster anyway. So, yeah.
Well, you finished out on your own little island. That's not too bad. A lot of people had eventful races for the wrong reasons. You kept pretty quiet here tonight, and we'll take home a podium. So all things considered, pretty good, I would say. Anybody you want to shout out or thank here?
Yeah, my mom, my dad, Dakota for making these liveries, and then shout out to you guys for making always a amazingly great broadcast. And I hope your vacation was very well.
I feel rejuvenated, especially after tonight's race. So I appreciate the time as always. Appreciate the good racing, and keep it up. We'll hopefully talk to you again next week in Michigan.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We'll talk to your P2 finisher now. Nice run here tonight for Caleb Bensey. Welcome back to booth 200. A long one here in Milwaukee. Green to checkers. Talk me through your night.
Yeah, I pretty happy with qualifying. And then initial pace was pretty good. And I mean, me and Gavin, I feel like almost every lap were running nearly identical. It seemed like, but just managing tires, managing pace, and made to the first pit stop, and then Pat was catching us, and we realized as he got close, he was shifting down to third, which we weren't doing. And then I regret even trying to do that because I just became a mess after that. So that was not, even though it may have been good for him, it was definitely not for me. But and then after he kind of got by, I mean, the hardest thing for me was keep my eyes open. It was a bit of a struggle. I was pinging off the wall on the straightaway a couple times. I don't know, hopefully you guys didn't see that, but it was an interesting one.
We definitely caught you in a couple of interesting positions, but that was just I think trying to work through lap traffic and having lap traffic try and work through you.
Yeah, like I said, those last couple stints after we started trying to use third gear, I was just a mess all over the place. So yeah, it was some awkward situations for sure.
Matt, what do you got?
Well, congrats on the P2. A ton of pace all night, just not quite enough to get Scott there. But you mentioned him trying third gear after realizing that's what he was doing. How long do you try it, and then when you realize it's not working for you, I mean, did you keep trying it all night, or were you just kind of content to keep riding there?
I probably tried it way longer than I should have tried it. Because like we were in a pretty good rhythm there in that first stint, even in the second one still. But yeah, went to try and do that, and you get rotation, but I don't know. It just kind of throws the balance off, and try to get back on throttle, and you think you're using the rears more because you get more wheel spin, but then seem to be cooking the right front more at the same time. So I'm not really sure what, I don't know, what's happening on my end doing that. But yeah, I probably should have bailed on that way before I did, because that last stint I went back to just cruising in fourth and didn't lose nearly as much as I did that one stint where he got me pretty good. So yeah, like I said, it was just, I mean, I was missing apexes left and right and pinging off the wall. So honestly, just happy to bring it home.
Now, what happened to Gavin there? It's from what we could tell in the cockpit, maybe it sounded like he was having like a shifter malfunction or something. Do you know what happened there?
Yeah, he was having like force feedback issues with his wheelbase, which he says like had before, but and then it just, I don't know, it started downshifting on him. I don't really know what was happening, so I don't know if it was a power related thing, and yeah, I'm not sure, but some hardware failure, I guess. But so yeah, so pretty unfortunate for him, because I feel like we had top three for both of us pretty well secured, but I guess that's our equivalent of real life mechanical failures. But yeah, it happens.
I was gonna say it's not often I've had to call DNFs for mechanical failures in the sim
Yeah.
so far at least, but
Hey,
hopefully it's the buck stops there.
yeah, I had the one at Rockingham, I think, on this channel. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
He
and
did.
Daredevil.
Absolutely.
Full
Did.
lock, turn right, full throttle, full brake, full clutch. So,
God.
thankfully, that's the only one I've ever had. But yeah, yeah, they're not fun when they happen because you don't really expect it at all. But yeah, unfortunate.
Well, mathematically, we opened the show with it. You've locked up the championship. We'll give you the full championship coronation for whatever it's worth next week at Michigan.
All
But,
right.
in the meantime, another P2 for you, or actually, not really another. They haven't really been coming that often of late. But anybody want to shout out or say hello here?
Yeah. First of all, I think my grandma specifically, she was all the way through that and already texted me. So
All right.
shout out for sticking around through all that. And yeah, Blossom Road Flowers, Miko Sakura as always. And yeah, thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. And yeah, still got one more, but it's been a fun season, so happy to get the championship wrapped up. But yeah, gonna go try to get the win in Michigan.
There you go. Looking for win number 6 next week. But nice job here tonight, P2. Go rest up.
Yeah, will do. Thank you guys.
Now we'll talk to your race winner for the third time in his Monday night trucking career. But first time this season, we get to talk to Scott Patton as a winner here in Truck 200. Welcome back to the booth. It's not been too terribly long, but on Monday nights, it's been quite a while. So happy to have you back here.
It has been. Appreciate it. Awesome race there. And yeah, been busy doing other league stuff, but we try to fit this in when we can. So it's great to come back and look at some great competition like we had tonight with Caleb and who was that? Gavin there. Yeah. What happened to him, by the way? Was he the one did he get off track in turn 1 and 2? And then I saw him disconnect. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it sounded like he had some sort of wheel failure. It was either a wheel failure, force feedback issues, or a shifter. One of the two was the sound of it. So, yeah, either way, it sort of thwarted what was going to be interesting down the stretch with some pit strategy. He got off sequence from you guys. And the reason he got off sequence is because you maybe a qualifying effort not to your liking, but you made up for it rather quickly. Absolutely stormed your way from 14th to find yourself in the mix there before the first green flag pit stops.
Yeah, that was certainly not the way that we planned to qualify by any means. We threw the first lap away, decided to restart there, and gave it a second shot and overdrove turn 2, and it went sideways and lost 4, 5, 6 tenths, whatever it was. So did the best we could there, and then I kind of looked up and saw that it was a 200 lap race. I was like, well, I guess I didn't realize until that point. I guess I don't know how, but yeah, we just kind of worked our way through. That was fun, kind of coming through the field there. A lot of great racing. Like I said, awesome league with clean racing. Got a little dicey there, racing with some of the guys in the top 5 there, but just close, good, hard, clean racing. So good time all around.
Now, anybody that watches us on Thursday nights know, and mentioned it a couple of times throughout the broadcast, but your home track is New Hampshire. You were very good at New Hampshire on the Thursday night race a few weeks ago. Of course, this is a track similar, at least on paper, to New Hampshire. I'm sure the similarities certainly, obviously, played to your favor here tonight. But is there anything that doesn't particularly transfer over from 1 miler to the other?
I would say out of all the mile tracks, there's kind of this one, there's Gateway, and there's Phoenix that all kind of get put in that same category as a mile flat tracks. And out of those selections, I would say this one definitely resembles that New Hampshire technique the most by far. The thing that's different about it, I would say that turn 1 and 2 gets tricky in that sort of double apex. The asphalt kind of goes away, and then it kind of comes back off turn 2 there. So it takes a little bit visually to get used to that, to be able to pull off laps consistently. Whereas at New Hampshire, you have sort of a more even, consistent turn there to keep your eye, where you want to be to hit the groove on the exit there. So a little bit more challenging here to hit it consistently, but we're kind of locked in tonight and able to rack them off here one at a time.
Matt, what do you got?
Oh, congrats on the race win. We were talking to Caleb, and he mentioned that he didn't realize that shifting would be used here until you kind of went by him, and then he said that he tried it, and it was detrimental to his speed. For you, did you kind of experiment not shifting and shifting, or did you come in here knowing that you kind of shift around this place and you just stuck to it?
Yeah, I kind of had an idea that shifting in general is faster, although I want to say that it's been a while since I've raced here, and I want to say that sometimes on the long run in these races, especially with a race this long, sometimes the shifting can be detrimental to the tire wear. So when it comes to race strategy and going green flag racing, sometimes I think in the past, fourth gear has been more beneficial, and maybe that's where he's kind of getting that from. But I think because we started so far back in the field in 14th there, going through traffic, I know I wanted to have that bite off of these corners. So I just went in with the idea of doing third gear and then until it starts to not work. And then maybe I'd try to save on the backside of the run going back into fourth. But then we consistently kind of dialed the leaders in 10th after 10th pretty much for the whole run. So that's kind of what convinced me that it would be the best strategy for the entire run and ultimately the entire race. And the tires really didn't wear down in terms of being slick there at the end of the run. So as long as we keep them underneath us, it didn't really hurt us at the last third of the run. So that was that kind of sealed the deal. That third gear seemed to be the way to go.
Well, nice job here tonight, partner. Fifth different driver to take home a victory this season. It's third win of your career. And a welcome back to Victory Lane to you. Anybody you want to shout out or say hello to here?
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, this New England Racing Museum here on the hood. Dr. Dick Bergren's project up in the Northeast on the property of New Hampshire Motor Speedway, which I'm going to this weekend. I am racing. You guys appreciate this. Racing for the first time in a race car at the 24 Hours of Lemons.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's going to be a freaking blast. I am
That's
so looking
awesome.
forward to that. So, yeah, they're going to strap me in, and give me a helmet and a pair of gloves and see what we can do.
Oh, my gosh.
So that should be a blast if our car ends up hopefully in one piece by the end of the weekend.
I mean, is it a lemons race if it doesn't, if it comes home in one piece? Is it truly
Exactly? That probably
experience?
means we didn't try hard enough, I guess. But it should be a blast no matter what happens. Looking forward to that. So first time not even in a race car, but also at our home track here. So it should be a blast.
Wow, that is going to be fantastic. Please flood the Max V Discord with tons of pictures and videos.
I will, for sure.
Can't wait to see that. And I'm assuming you're racing with Max V on Thursday night. I think they're at North Wilkesboro. Is that right?
Yeah, I should be. I'm actually going to pick up the car Thursday night after work, but I think if things work out, because that's a pretty late start on that Thursday night Max V race, so I think if things pan out, I should be there Thursday night, put some laps down before we hit the track on Friday morning.
Well, there you go. All the best. Hope to see you on Thursday. Hope to talk to you again. But if not, appreciate the time. Congrats on the win here tonight.
All right, thanks a lot, Tommy. Appreciate it.
Man, oh man, that I'm jealous. You and I, at some point in our life, we will be on track in a Lemons car. But
I've already spoken to a couple of my buddies that are more mechanically inclined than even I am. So, yeah, I think we're gonna make that happen.
I'm just there for PR and social media, but I'd be happy to be on the grass. So, yeah, so cool for Scott Vatten to not only be the race winner here, but be racing at his home track in real life at the end of the week. Very cool stuff. A long race here tonight. We knew that going in. these drivers delivered. It's a tough challenge, especially early in the runs. Cautions breeding cautions. If you don't have a caution to start with, you're not going to breed another caution, I guess. So, good stuff all around. Anything you want to say to close out the night here in Milwaukee?
Well, shout out to the drivers that came out. We knew it was going to be a tough one, knew it was going to be a long one, but still had nearly 20 drivers come out and race with us here tonight. So shout out to the drivers as always, and shout out to the folks that were here chatting with us. Matt Houston at Raceverse, the Rain Man, Garrett Rainey, after he bowed out of this one with some just wanting to rest before tomorrow night's race at Watkins Glen. And then Eric Breeding was in the chat with us here tonight a little bit early as well. So shout out to you guys and anybody else that was watching here tonight. Very much appreciate it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to more fun here this week. As we mentioned several times here tonight, tomorrow night with the Venom Truck Series, we are at Watkins Glen, the Boot Edition. For 40 laps around the boot, give breast cancer the boot, 220K. So that is where we'll be at tomorrow night. Wednesday night with the ASRL Southern Shores Realty Sports Car Championship in East Jerez for 2 rounds in Spain. And Thursday night for Maximum Velocity Racing League, it is at North Wilkesboro. And then, gosh, I don't even know where we are at next week for the Porsche Mission R Challenge next Sunday.
And well, unfortunately, I will not be with you.
Oh, well, you got the race all to yourself yesterday, so we got to balance it back out by me coming back in for a solo race, from the sounds of it anyway. I'm trying desperately now to figure out where we are, and I will get there in just a second. We are at, oh, good God, the Nürburgring. So that will be a 3-lap race around the Nürburgring, and oh goody, I get that one all to myself. I can't wait. And then we are closing out Season 2 and entering a bit of a dormant period for the league after 100 laps in Michigan next week. To close out the season, championship is decided, but other positions in the top 5 that pay out, and then the top 10 that pay out glory, still up for grabs here. So a lot to be decided yet next week in Michigan for the season finale of Truck 200. Appreciate all the drivers who came out. Appreciate everybody that has watched and subscribed. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel here and you enjoyed tonight's stream, please do so on your way out here tonight. For everybody with the league, for the GOAT, Mr. Matt Williamson, I am Tommy Cook. Until we meet again, we say so long from the virtual Milwaukee Mile, where Scott Patton is tonight's winner with career victory number 3.